guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the recommendation video for Brother's Best Friend or Best Friend's Brother romances. I love this kind of romance because it adds a little bit of forbidden nature to the story, or they have a past with each other, so it's definitely affecting them being able to get together, or they meet when they're really young, and then it kind of is like friends to lovers, but there's definitely sometimes a bit of a forbidden aspect to it because they don't want to betray like the friend in the situation, and I love that kind of angst that's added to these books, so I have a stack here, and I'm very excited to get to them, but before I get to those, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Pippa Grant. The Worst Wedding Date by Pippa Grant came out in April, and this one is a best friend's brother, and it takes place at a wedding. There is definitely forced proximity because it is the heroine's job to babysit her best friend's brother. Her best friend is getting married, it's a destination wedding, and to watch over the brother, she has to share a room with him. They have been enemies since like 3rd grade. She cannot stand him. He is a tattooed bad boy, but he is hiding something, and there's a reason why that he hates the groom, and he's wrecking havoc everywhere, and it is her job to make sure he stays in line. And the wedding goes off without a hitch because she loves her best friend and wants her to have her dream wedding, but she uncovers things about the hero, and he might just be a bit of a softie on the inside, and they start falling in love. This one is a wedding destination forced proximity rom-com, and I love a good bad boy hero who's really a softie on the inside. He is definitely hiding a lot from the heroine, and it is for sure a best friend's brother romance. There is that added history between the heroine and the hero of the story because they have known each other since they were young, and it is a enemies to lovers where the hero definitely pushes her buttons. If you have not yet, make sure you check out The Worst Wedding Date by Pippa Grant, and thank you so much to her for sponsoring this video. Then I have a book that I am currently in the middle of and absolutely loving, and that is Into the Tide by Laura Pavlov. This one kind of inspired this video because it has so much forbiddenness because it is his brother's sister. So it's her brother's best friend, and she is back home for the summer. She's determined to have this bucket list while she's home because she hasn't experienced a lot, so like she gets drunk for the first time because she's just stayed a goody two-shoes her whole life. Even when she was of legal age, she's like, I don't want to risk things, and so she did that, and she wants to complete something on her list that the hero could help her with. Hugh has known her for a while, and he is really close with her brother, and he is seeing her as a woman, and he is so attracted to her. He is definitely more of a womanizer. He's been around a lot, and he is very tempted to help her with her list, and they spend a lot of time together. He's also very protective. I'm gonna do a protective hero recommendation video next week, and this one's for sure gonna be on it. So you're gonna see this book again because I'm swooning over how protective he is over her. Someone was touching her when they were out, and he's like, nope, you don't get to touch her, because he wants to, but he can't because it's his best friend's sister, and I'm having so much fun. Very small town, big family, and so good. So check out Laura Pavlov if you have not yet. I know her next book comes out soon, so I'm really enjoying this one. Then we have Fair Catch by Candy Cider. This one also has a lot of history between them because the hero and heroine grew up with her as like her brother's best friend, but then her brother, something happens and she blames the hero for it, and so they end up going to college together, and they are on the same football team, and she hates his guts because of what he did to her brother, and her brother and him are still friends, but she refuses to forgive him, and then they're on the same football team, and then they end up being roommates, so they need to have a lot of time around each other, and they are on the same football team, slowly falling for each other, and I really love this book. It is such a good start to the series. Most people read book 2 and then move on. Do not skip this one. This one definitely is underrated in the series, and I think more people should read it, and I loved how she was a female football kicker. Like, give me the female athletes. I love it when both the female and male play on the same team together, or they're both athletes. I love that kind of trope so much in a sports romance, so definitely check this one out. It is a football romance. Then I have An Optimist Guide to Heartbreak. This one is a best friend's brother romance. So in this one, our heroine grew up with her best friend and her brother, and something was about to kind of happen between her and the brother, and then something really tragic happens in the past, and then we jump to the present day where the heroine is back in town, and she's reconnecting with the hero, and the hero is a grumpy mechanic. He owns his own shop, and he wants nothing to do with her, but she is in town. She buys his old house, and she is determined to get back in his life again and just build back those bridges that were broken, and she ends up asking to work at his shop, and he lies and is like, we're not hiring, and she's like, literally there's a hiring sign right there, and so he ends up hiring her, and they are working together. So this one also is definitely forced proximity. I feel like a lot of brother's best friend or best friend's brother has that forced proximity trope as well, so they cannot stay away from each other, and she slowly breaks down his walls. It's 100% Grump Sunshine. It is so good. Definitely read this one if you have not yet. It is a duet, so it ends on a cliffhanger, but the duet is both of them already out. It came out like a week after book 1, so you do not have to wait, but I love Jennifer Hartman's emotions in her book, and this one is no different. Please read it. Then we have Until You by Katerina Mora. This one is a brother's best friend because her brother's a doctor and she lives close by. She's dating someone. She wants a job in tech, but nobody really takes her seriously. Her brother's best friend that they grew up with, he is like a tech mogul. He is so rich. He has his own company. He comes home to visit for, I think it was her brother's birthday. It was someone's birthday, and they figure out her boyfriend was doing something awful to her, so the hero is actually the one who goes to get revenge because the brother's a doctor. He can't hurt his hands. He's like, I got you. And he gets revenge on that guy and then offers for her to move with him to get her own job at his company where she can actually be in tech. And that's where the story goes. So it's also forced proximity because she moves in with him, and I just loved it so much. I love Katerina Mora and her romances, especially when you have like these just big billionaires who are super overprotective. Like, she has that in every book and I'm not tired of it. I love it. So read this one if you haven't yet. This one is also one I don't see a lot of people talking about by this author, but I really enjoyed it. The audio especially is amazing. I'm pretty sure it was Teddy Hamilton. He can do no wrong. Then we have Power Plays and Straight A's. This one is an MM hockey romance, and the hero is told by his best friend to watch out for his best friend's little brother who is new to campus, and that hero is a hockey player, and he is like, well, sure, I will help your brother out, make sure he's settling in okay. And they end up falling in love, and it's so sweet. The younger hero has a crush on him and he just feels like he's embarrassing himself a lot, and they spend a lot of time together though. The hero that is the younger brother is one that focuses on his studies too much. He gets lost in his education, and so a lot of times he like forgets to even eat or go out, and so the hockey player hero is like, I'm gonna show you what college is really like, give you the true college experience, helps him out there, and they fall for each other, and it was so cute. I really liked it, like the hockey in here too, and just the dynamic between the two heroes because they're so different, and it ended up being just like, watch out for my little brother, and they end up falling in love. I really like that. If you like new adult hockey romances, you should definitely check this one out. Then I have The Silent Waters by Brittany C. Cherry. I forget this one's a brother's best friend because it's also friends to lovers, because she becomes super close friends with him before she has a very, very traumatic experience and does not talk or leave the house after that. And this is also kind of a rock star romance too. This has a lot of tropes going for it, but the hero is best friends with her brother and is in a band with him, and her and him are really close when they're young, and they end up wanting to have like a fake wedding, and something happens where she loses her way and something horrific happens to her, and so she does not speak or leave the house, but he is always there for her and so close with her and is able to understand her and talk to her. He is a comfort to her, and something happens where he has an opportunity that involves him leaving, and so he decides to leave, and they still have their connection, they stay in touch, but that's all I want to say. There's so much more to this book. There's so much depth to this book, and it is so, so good. And it just feels like there was kind of a second chance aspect to this too, because they were super close growing up, and you know, something more would have happened if that event didn't happen to her, but he was brought into her life because it was her brother's best friend. So this one, very, very, very emotional. Like, oh my gosh, the cover happens in this book and it is such an emotional experience, but I love this book, love Brittany C. Cherry. And the last recommendation I have is Little Lies by Helena Hunting. This one is very similar to Silent Waters, where they were in each other's lives because he was her brother's best friend and continues to be even when they have a falling out, and so they actually go through something very traumatic together and kind of bond over that and are only using each other to recover from that trauma, and so their parents decide to break them apart and say, you need to learn to stand on your own, we need help individually, like this is not going to end with a good future between you two. So they go through their lives apart, and something happens when they're older that he messes up and she is horrified and hates him, and now he's in her life because she's in college living with her brother, and he is a brother's best friend, so he's still always around even though they had a falling out. So again, it's a second chance brother's best friend, which I also really love, because even if like you've ruined your chance, you are forced to be together. So again, we have that good forced proximity going on, and I really enjoyed this one, so definitely check this one out. He's a hockey player too, and he has to grovel, and I loved it. So a couple of new adult ones on here for you. This one's new adult, and you definitely need to read it. And those are the recommendations I have for you. Make sure you check them out and let me know your favorite brother's best friend or best friend's brother romances. And again, thank you so much to Pippa Grant for sponsoring this video. Definitely check out The Worst Wedding Date as a destination wedding, forced proximity, best friend's brother, enemies to lovers. We have that forced proximity where they are always in each other's lives even though they hate each other and they fall for each other. So make sure you check this one out. And thank you so much again to Pippa Grant for sponsoring this video. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.